And again, it's with the verbiage, the wordage, the Matrika Shakti. When you do yoga, mat yoga, you do it on a mat. You don't do it in a mat, right? All right, so I'm a little picky about this. I'm not picky about a lot of things, but I'm picky about this. When you do chair yoga, you do it on a chair, not in a chair. You don't sit in a chair, you sit on a chair. You don't stand on your yoga mat. You don't stand in your yoga mat, you stand on it. So we're keeping the integrity, the tradition of yoga, we're keeping it on the chair. Now some of you have done yoga for as long as I have, 40 some odd years. So I'm an old yogini. Certain things I really try to adhere to. Another thing, but we have changed it a little bit recently, is that you're solely on the chair in Lakshmi Voelker Chair Yoga. You're not using the chair as a tool. But I'm going to change that in a minute. So your challenge is, how can I adapt every asana that's in a yoga book, on a video, or from a class to the chair? Now, it's a lot easier to use the chair as a tool and do a supported forward bend, right? Okay, so it's a bit more challenging to figure out how to do it on a chair. Now I'm feeling a heck of a lot more of a stretch on the chair. And when we get to double chair yoga, one person on two chairs, you're going to see how you do it on two chairs. But this is a tremendous stretch. Now if you can see my back, it's straight, it's flat. I'm not doing this. If I'm doing this, I'm going to back up until my back is long. All right, and we'll go over contradictions also. So, when you do mat yoga, in my chair yoga, you don't use the chair as a tool. In mat yoga, you don't use the mat as a tool either, do you? You don't hold the mat like this and say, oh, look, I'm doing the forward bend. Isn't this great? And how about this? Hey, check this out. I'm now doing, look up, oh, far out, I'm doing the tree. Right? So I've taken the integrity of doing it on the mat and putting it on the chair. Now, I've been real strict about that for many, many years. I have said you cannot get off the chair. If you're already teaching chair yoga and you get off the chair, you can't bill that as a Lakshmi Voelker Chair Yoga class because mine is different than the others. What I've come to realize the last couple months, that quite a few of my teachers, they're now getting written up in the paper. They're now going on TV shows. 2 of them are writing a book on chair yoga. More and more of my teachers are getting chair yoga out in the world. And I notice when they're responding back to me, they're not saying Lakshmi Voelker Chair Yoga. So I write back to them and I go, help me. I'm not getting this part. Why are you not saying Lakshmi Voelker Chair Yoga? They say, well, what I've done is I've taken them after many, many months or whatever. Some of them are able and want to get off the chair. So I sat down with Bruce and we talked about it and contemplated it, and I said, you know, we need to open up our consciousness and we need to be aware of that. So this is what Bruce has said so far. Based on input from teachers and students, we feel that in certain situations it is all right to get the students off the chair. We do advise caution when doing this since balance can be an issue. All right? Classes are being taught where students are using the chair as a prop on a mat or working on the mat. This, of course, happened when I created Lakshmi Voelker Chair Yoga. My student with the severe arthritis did it on a chair and eventually was able to get back on the mat. Let's see, he says here, when teaching groups, please advise them to only get off the chair if they feel comfortable doing so. Always do poses that can be done in all three venues, which are the levels of flexibility on the chair. Using the chair as a prop or on the mat so you can mix and match what each person in a class is doing. Precautions and contraindications are the key here. So enjoy taking some or all of your students beyond the three levels of flexibility as you determine the viability of doing that for each student. So you now have permission to take Lakshmi Voelker off the chair, but don't make that your prime goal. Challenge yourself. Challenge yourself. I don't ever take my students off the chair. I don't need to. Because like I said last night, we really get moving on the chair. But if you want to take them off the chair and they're ready for a couple of the poses, you still can call it Lakshmi Voelker Chair Yoga. All right? So, clear on that. Now, do we have any questions yet? Or can I start the contraindications? Yes?
Does the kind of chair matter, and also the height? Like, I find these chairs too high.
Absolutely. When we get to Chapter 8, which I believe is going to be Friday, we will cover chairs. We will cover everything. How to market yourself, Yoga Alliance, International Association of Yoga Therapists, how to get your insurance. Everything will be covered in Chapter 8.
No.
Use a block, use a book, use a rolled yoga mat, use a pillow. Absolutely. It's all about being comfortable on the chair. Every chair where you go and teach is going to be different. Some are going to be high, some are going to be low, some are going to have a big seat, some are going to have a small seat, some are going to have a straight back, some are going to have a lounging back, yes.
Does the kind of chair matter? Should it be required? Should there be a requirement?
No, you can't be. Can't be. Because it depends on where you're going to teach.
Also the height of the student.
Right.
Well, that's what I just asked.
And you have to, as a teacher, when I'm teaching a class, I just scan the room, and it, after a while, you get to notice if a student is sitting in the chair with their heels not on the floor, you know that it's that their legs are too short to reach the floor. So you bring a blanket, you fold it, you bring a block just to raise it up. They'll be very appreciative because it immediately makes their legs pick up.
But is there a standard type of chair that would be best to use for this kind of yoga?
There's all kinds of chairs.
You're going to have to work with what
You have to work with what you have at the facility or at the private home or at the hospital that you're at.
Would they be doing it in their wheelchairs?
Yes, if they are wheelchair bound, you will teach them the postures on the wheelchair. That will be covered tomorrow and Friday. Okay, if you've looked at your manual, which I asked you to do, all of that is covered in Chapter 5, 6, 7, and 8. I'm pretty sure I'm going to cover every question that you're going to have. But today, if you look at the schedule, we're doing lessons A, B, and C from the CD. For this morning, we're doing all single chair yoga. How to adapt the postures to the chair. Okay? And we'll finish with your questions as the time unfolds. Another question. What I'm up here to do for all of you is to empower you. I'm not here to disempower you. And that brings forth my really wonderful statement. You can photocopy anything that's in this manual. Anything that's in here you can photocopy. You can use it for a flyer, a handout, whatever you want. We'll talk about this in Chapter 8. You will contact Bruce if you want my business card. He'll send you the layout for that. You just stick your name and information on it. We have trifolds, we have folders, we have flyers, we have everything. All of this that's in this manual was given to me over many, many years from many of my teachers and masters from all over the world. And I feel as though all of this was given to me so freely. How dare I tell you that you cannot use it freely? So I want you to get rid of any stress. I'm not a person that says, if I find out that you copied this page, I'm going to sue you. That's not who we are. All right? So that should answer that question for you. And as I said last night, anything that you've learned on the mat or anywhere, stick it on the chair. Can that be applicable on the chair? And yes, that would be a Lakshmi Voelker chair yoga class, because you've got that freedom. Okay, now, let's turn the page. Keep turning. And you can read page 6, chapter 1, the personal note from Bruce and myself. You can read that on your leisure. It's just to tell you how much we love what we're doing. Okay? The next page, page 7, is a haiku and also a circle of offering. And the circle of offering was written by Holly Caputo, one of my students from last year. And she was very nervous about her share asana. So she wrote this for all of you. So again, you can read that at your leisure. You got your program objectives, which is very, very well put for you. You got a little bit on the background on who I am. You got 2 early experiences of what made me who I am today. Hatha yoga, what it means. A little bit about Kripalu, the Kripalu 3-stage methodology. All of this is for you to read. And then a couple articles, but if you notice in the back, there's articles, and Tom and the group have set up lots of things for you to read and look at in the back. So that's a brief going over of chapter 1. We'll go over it again. Let's get to chapter 2. This is the meat and potato of this program. This is what's going to teach you how to adapt the asanas to the chair. This is what's going to teach you the alignment, the anatomy, and the contraindications, which mean no, cannot be done. Cannot. Cautions means use caution. So we're going to turn to this page. Now, the next 1, 2, 3 pages, if you notice, it has the asana or the posture, it has the precaution, it has the contraindication. We've also left you room for notes. So you go now, every asana that's on the CD, the DVD, the tutorial book, and in this manual are on this chart. Every one of them. Okay? And they're all in alphabetical order. We try to make this as easy as we can. Now, if you keep turning, you're going to come to a key. This key, what I would suggest you do at home is you take this out, put it to the side, and then look at each posture and look at the key and say, oh, okay, A is ankle injury, DDD is degenerative disc disease. Become familiar. Now, what came up for me the beginning of this year at Texas State University with the therapeutic recreationist or the recreationist therapy, what are they called?
Certified therapy.
What? They're called what?
Well, you have certification.
They're all masters, so it's therapeutic recreation?
Yeah, and some states are licensed. In fact,
okay, so let's call them a TRs to make it short and easy. All right, so the TR said, but wait a minute, Lakshmi. From what I've learned so far from you and the postures, if you do one of these asanas in low level of flexibility, then it really wouldn't be contraindicated, would it? And I said, absolutely. That's absolutely right. That's why we bring in the 3 levels of flexibility. Because let's say you have a high level of multiple sclerosis, and you're really not supposed to be doing that much movement because you're already heated, you're already inflamed, and you don't want to inflame yourself anymore.